We have a very special guest on the phone with us today. He has sold more than 10 million albums worldwide and continues to make new music and tour the world. We're joined today by Howard Jones.
Hey, Jay, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks again for doing this for us.
It's a pleasure.
I want to talk a little bit of historical. A lot of your fans know this stuff, but some people don't. And I'm fascinated by your story. And you've had a long career and life exposed to music. What inspired you to pursue a career in music? And were there any specific artists or events that really led you in that direction?
Well, my parents are Welsh. They sang at home, not professionally. They just sang because they loved to sing. Mm-hmm. And they wanted me to learn the piano. So when I was 7, they paid for piano lessons for me, even though they weren't very well off.
Right.
And they bought me a piano, a second-hand piano. And so, I didn't really like practicing, and I didn't really like my music teacher at first. But then suddenly something clicked with me when I worked out that I could actually hear a tune in my head and then play it on the piano.
Right.
And that was it. I was like obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And then so piano lessons all the way through there. Then when I was 14, I went to the Isle of Wight Music Festival on the Isle of Wight, which is an island off the south coast of the UK, and saw all the greatest legends, you could say, of all time, perhaps. You know, I saw Jimi Hendrix.
Wow.
I saw Emerson, Lake and Palmer's second gig. I saw Joni Mitchell.
Wow.
I saw The Doors, The Who, John Sebastian doing a solo set. It was like on and on and on, all the greats.
Right.
And I thought to myself, this is what I want to do, especially when I saw, because I was a huge fan of The Nice and Keith Emerson, and seeing that. And it was the first time, anybody had a Moog modular on stage and was
Right.
playing it live.
Right.
So all these things just blew my mind, and I thought, oh, this is what I want to do. What else could be better than this? And fortunately, the universe allowed me to do this. To do what I do it. Yeah.
And that might be the answer to my next question, which is what drew you to synthesizers as a primary medium?
Well, I played the piano since I was 7. I, went to music college. I did the whole thing. 4 hours a day, sometimes 6 hours a day of practice when I was at music college and that. So anything with a keyboard, I was just drawn to. And even when I was at home, there was an organ, Hammond organ place in High Wycombe, and I used to go down there on Saturday afternoons, and they'd let me play the Hammonds and the Leslies. And so in the first band I was in, the drummer made me a synthesizer from a kit. And it was really difficult to control. That it was constantly going out of tune. But I was being like, to me it was like Keith Emerson's Moog.
Right.
So anything, and I didn't want to do what traditional keyboard players would have done in rock bands. I wanted to do something new with the new technology.
Yeah.
And that's what excited me. So I had the chops that I'd done with my classical training, but I loved the technology as well. I want to combine the two things, and that's really my career, really.
Yeah. Speaking of technology, it's dramatically evolved.
Yeah.
Is an understatement.
Yeah.
And now with the presentation of AI,
yeah.
How is that evolution influencing your music making process? Are you keeping it real and staying old school, or are you embracing the new technology?
Well, I'm not using AI in any way that I'm aware of. I know a lot of people are worried about it, and rightly so, that people are training AI models using our music, and I mean that's a real shame.
Yeah, I recently heard an AI song made in the way of Depeche Mode, and it scared me. It literally gave me goosebumps because it sounded so much like Dave. I just was blown away.
Yeah. I mean, it's a problem, and but the thing is, with any new emerging technology, there's always a great side to it, but there's also people who use it to rip people off. And
right.
That's what we got to watch, with sampling, for instance, when people used to steal, parts of people's records and then use it in their own and then not give them any credit. But I mean, luckily, then that changed and people then, got royalties for it, which is happening. But,
right.
the vigilance that you have to have
Yeah.
I don't know that we can control all that. It's the thing is, what's going to be important then. Going out to play live maybe be the only thing that's totally real anymore.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and doing it in front of an audience. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your songwriting process. Do lyrics or melodies usually come first?
It's usually the music first because that's the easiest thing for me.
Right.
Then the lyrics is the torturous part of it because what you say is so important, and how it's phrased and how it's presented. It's just so important. Well, everything that we say has an effect. So something that people are going to listen to over and over. I'm just so aware of that.
Yeah.
It's got to be good. It's got to be encouraging. It's got to be nourishing.
Right.
And not unconsidered and not just thrown away. So that's what takes me the time.
Yeah.
And my great friend Rupert Hine, who's passed away now, who produced my first 2 albums, always used to say, don't write anything until you've got something to say.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's really important. So not like forcing a song out,
right?
Because you need to do it. Make sure there's a reason for writing the song, and it comes from a place of wanting to say something.
Yeah. And that really shows in your music. Your lyrics are very introspective and also inspiring. I mean, does anybody love anybody anyway? Just incredible lyrics all the time. One of my favorite songs by you is "Dream into Action," the song itself. Tell us about what the lyrics mean to you when you wrote them.
Well, I'm always trying to work out through my work, what is the best way to live? What is the best way to live harmoniously together on the planet? What can you say? Between every man there is a division. Nobody ever seems to get it right.
Yeah. Even
between friends there's a long gap. Somebody makes a mistake, there's a fight. Somebody makes a mistake, there's a fight. So that's the case. So how do we combat that? And the title of the song is about, well, not just thinking about it, but actually doing something about it. Put the dream of creating a harmonious, society where people listen to each other and they respect each other and they respect the differences between each other, but they still find a common humanity. How do you do that? And it's a theme that I try and have in everything that I do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So that song, yeah.
It really shows. I've heard you speak of your personal faith, it seems kind of obvious to me, but to others, would you say that your personal faith plays a role in your music writing?
Oh yeah, well, it's just part of my life.
Right. Right.
I want to make a contribution to the world I live in,
yeah.
And I want it to be a positive one. And as an imperfect person, that I am, I still want to improve myself and be kind and empathetic to people and understanding, and and I want to make the effort to do that.
Yeah.
And so that's what drives me on. That's why I love doing what I do, because I get to, sort of say that and act like that in front of people. And that's my way of, contributing.
Yeah.
It's kind of, gigs are an excuse to do that.
Yeah. And thank you for doing that, because it's not just implied. It's a integral part of your message. And I think the world needs it more than ever. I mean, there's so many easy ways to divide each other if we can find a common ground to stand on. And I think music does that for a lot of people.
No, absolutely. But and also, that every little thing that each person does makes a difference.
Absolutely.
That's the bit I think that people don't always realize, is that one kind word or encouraging word can make the difference between a whole person's future.
Absolutely.
We all have that ability to do that. So it's not like
ripple in an ocean, huh?
It is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Are you working on new music? I'm sure you always are, but can we expect anything new?
Yeah. Well, I during lockdown I composed a set of piano pieces, and they weren't just improvisations; they were composed. if you know what I mean. I really thought about them like I would with a song. And so they've been all recorded, and I've got this amazing piano that I can play into, and then I can edit what I played into it, and it plays back my, and so it can play things that you can't actually do with your hands, or not with two hands anyway. And then I've got my friend to do the music for it as well, so that people can, if they play and they read, they can actually play it at home on their own piano. So that's coming out this year. And then I'm going to work on the next electronic album when I get back from the tour, and it's going to be called Global Citizen. It's part of the series of 4 albums.
I like that, Global Citizen. Are we going to hear any of that in the tour? Are you going to test any stuff out?
No. I mean, no. It's not even written yet. So,
Okay.
So yeah, I was working on stuff today actually for the interviews, but it'll be a process.
I totally understand. I feel like when I get out on the road and hear other musicians, that's when I become inspired the most. You'll probably take a lot away from the tour,
Yeah.
a lot of energy, and put that into the music.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you've collaborated with many artists around the world over the years. Is there a particular collaboration that you love the most, and why?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite collaboration has been with BT, and it's interesting. Like he came to see me when he was 14. BT recounts that, me with all the keyboards surrounding me and all that stuff, and I think that had a bit of an influence on him. And then, I absolutely love now, and they've all been cracking, great tracks. And I was speaking to him recently, and he's up for doing some more. So I will do more with him, and maybe for this new album as well. So I think there's a big, real bond there. And I went to a studio in Washington. It's near Washington DC, and he's got like every keyboard ever.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Made. And it was he's an absolute, obsessive,
Yeah.
a brilliant genius guy,
Genius. Yeah, that is a word. Absolutely.
Yeah, he really is one.
Yeah, I grew up listening to that as well, and bought his Flaming June album, and he is definitely a genius. And
Yeah.
I was wondering about that. I'm glad that you brought that up. Let's get to kind of I call them fast questions, or just think on your toes
Sure.
kind of stuff. Like
Yeah.
what's your favorite color?
I don't really have one. I don't really have a favorite. I like, although I do like orange though.
Oh, yeah.
I do like orange. Yeah.
Yeah,
I do have
your
a lot.
shows are always colorful. When I've seen you play in
Yeah.
the past, you're always wearing something bombastic.
Oh yeah. There's no. Yeah. It's going to be loud and proud on this tour as well.
When you're on the tour, do you miss your family, or do you bring them with you?
Well, my wife Jan comes with me.
Cool.
And now, I mean, when we had the kids, when they were at school, she couldn't, but she comes with me now, so that's great. And then my daughter will be coming for the last 5 dates, and she does all my social media, so she's like rocking it with that, so that's great.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Well, yeah, it's really great because when she does posts, she really knows me. She knows what I would like and how I want to be represented, so I can totally relax.
Right. Yeah, it's not a bot.
It's not a bot, and the way that things are expressed is really important. She knows how important that is to me, and she gets it, and it's just wonderful actually having that.
Do you spend an amount of time every week or every day listening to music, other people's music, new music?
Well, funny enough, when I'm on tour, I listen to music more because I'm on the bus a lot, and I listen while I'm, in my bunk. When I'm at home, at the moment, I've been listening to a lot of classical music and jazz because my piano comes with a library of the greatest piano players on the planet.
Oh, wow.
So they're basically playing my piano. And Lang Lang, and then even George Gershwin, they take archive footage and recordings of him, and then translate it into data, and the piano plays it back just like he would have played it. So I'm learning about how all these amazing piano players do what they do, because
Right.
I can watch it, I can hear it and watch it, and so that's mainly my source of music listening at the moment.
Do you still go out to concerts and, kind of hide in the back?
Yeah, yeah. I went to see Paul McCartney recently, and
Oh,
I went,
nice.
and I'm friends with Brandon Flowers of the Killers, and we
Yeah.
went to see them at the O2. That was great. So I do, yeah, I go to gigs and I go to small things as well. My son runs exhibitions and has performances that he puts on, so I go to those kind of things as well. So, big and small is good, I think, to listen to.
What can your fans expect from the set list? All the classics? All the hits?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. All hits. There's a couple of more sort of contemporary ones. There's the one "To Love You," which is the one I did with BT,
Yeah.
and also a song called "Eagle Will Fly Again," and it was written for the film Eddie the Eagle, and it's one of my favorite sort of recent songs. It's a shuffle, but also I just find it so interesting, the title "Eagle Will Fly Again," because obviously the eagle,
Yeah.
it's the American symbol,
Yeah.
and I think, yeah, well, it's a positive take on that. So it's actually written about him, but if you listen to the lyrics, it's very like, everything can be turned around. Everything can be turned around, and you can get back on your feet, and things can be amazing
Yeah.
if we decide.
Yeah. You're
Yeah,
one thing away from changing everything.
yeah,
One
yeah.
conversation.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That is so right.
Yeah.
I do believe that. So,
Yeah. I do as well. I do as
yeah,
well. I don't want to take your time. I know you've got a couple interviews to do, and we've covered a lot of ground. I'm going to do just
great.
a couple little wrap up questions here.
Sure,
You
sure.
could only take 3 records with you on a desert island. What would they be? And it doesn't have to be a desert island. It could be anywhere.
Okay. Well, it would be it'd be Kamakiriad by Donald Fagen,
Oh wow. Okay. Okay.
which is like a work of genius.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really great.
Most recently, as an album by
I play a lot of classic rock on my show, Legends and Liner Notes. Some people call it yacht rock, but it's just and we love Donald Fagen. I'll
right,
probably play that now that you mention it.
great. Great. I mean, it's not Kamakiriad is not the one that people talk about, but it is a
Right.
total work of genius, isn't it? As you know.
Yeah, it really
So,
is.
Joe Jackson.
Okay.
It's called What a Racket, and it's he created this character called Max Champion. It's like a sort of vaudeville entertainer, and he's written the whole album in the style of that era, and it is absolutely the funniest, wittiest, and authentic thing. So it's a real.
I've not heard that. I need to look into that.
I take that because it makes me really laugh, and
Yeah, yeah.
and then I don't know. I suppose it would have to be the White Album, the Beatles,
Yeah, the Beatles. Yeah.
because it's a double, isn't it? So
Yeah, yeah.
you
And
get
it's
your
just so
back.
iconic. You can't. Yeah.
Yes, and so many different styles there
Yeah.
that are
Yeah. You
so
flip it over and
influential.
have a whole new experience.
Yes.
That's wonderful. This is going to be the last question, but I think it's important and it's probably a little deep. We've talked about the past, we've talked about the future. For you, what parts of the past should remain in the future? What do we need to not forget about?
Well, I think that what we need to not forget about is that the way that we run things should be for the benefit of the people,
Yeah.
like your station.
Yeah.
It's so that's the starting point. So what is best for human beings to flourish, and that is everyone. That's not just some people. That's like everyone.
Right.
What are the best? Yeah. So that's the goal. And I mean, I think in terms of where human society is at the moment, we're still like in our sort of adolescent phase.
Sure.
And we can't, we still got wars going on. I mean,
Yeah.
physical violence. I mean, really, we need to get past that, don't we? I mean, we can't move forward.
Childish reactions.
Yeah, that's right. So all I see that the root of the problems that we have, including the environment, including the wars and the inequality in society, comes from the fact that there's two things. One, we don't realize how amazing we are as individuals and our potential. We just don't realize the potential we have. And secondly, we don't recognize that in others. So we don't see it in ourselves, and we don't see it in others. So if we could do that and work on that, then things would change really fast. All the things that it would take a minute to sort it out, but we'd be on the right track then.
Yeah.
To solving the big problems.
It's very true.
We're just a mixture, aren't we? We're incapable of incredible compassion and understanding.
Yeah.
But the negative side, we don't have under control. We don't flip it to create value. With our anger, we don't turn it into passion. Okay. We don't. So it's all there. So that's our. If that could be part of our education, that would really help.
Yeah.
Rather than it all being sort of material things and thinking people are talking a lot about mental health, and that is, to me, a lot of it not understanding how our brain, how we work.
Yeah.
And so I just like to see more attention.
Yeah.
I don't think that, looking back, I'm not seeing where that was in the past, though.
Yeah, true.
I think it's just
always been a little off kilter.
Yeah, that's right.
What fascinates me is seeing so many different people and different religions and thoughts and whatnot. And one thing that we can all agree on is the music. You can have just around the world people of different cultures, and we all agree on the music. We can be in the same place, loving that thing.
That's right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, that's right. It transcends.
It does.
Stuff, doesn't it?
It transcends everything. And you have been the creator of some of the greatest music. Thanks again for doing this for the station. Really great interview.
Thank you so much for doing it. I really enjoyed it. Really brilliant. Thank you, Jake. See you on tour.